Big morning on Ramon Kayla Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. The Titans reportedly have their new general manager. ESPN's Diana Rossini, NFL.com's Ian Rappaport saying yesterday that Rand Carthon will be the guy for the Tennessee Titans. This coming after a report from NFL Network's Mike Garafolo yesterday that the Titans were set to bring back Vice President of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden, Carthon, and Chicago Bears assistant general manager Ian Cunningham for second interviews. You had Albert Breer saying that Cunningham had gone through a second interview on Monday. And guys, we still have not had any report that Carthon ever went through a second interview with the Titans organization. The only one we know went through a second conversation with the Titans, according to reports, was Cunningham. So I'm sure we'll get more details in the coming days, but clearly, as Mike Vrabel joined the process later on in this interview search, Carthon was the guy.
Yeah. Very interesting, man. Like I said, it went by quick, but when it's good, right? Well, why hesitate and wait even longer, especially when there's other business that has to be done? Like the Titans got to expedite everything in a smart way moving forward. How close are we to the Senior Bowl? Very.
First weekend in February.
Weekend.
That week is what matters.
Yeah,
so.
the practices and everything. And on top of that, combine and understanding personnel, the hiring of an OC and an offensive line coach and a DB coach. So it's appropriate that you know what you're looking for when you get into this search and hiring of a new guy. Good optics on it. Everybody I've talked to, man, and we'll get into that right now, man. I immediately reached out to some people that I knew that were in the NFC West and was like, man, you played against him. What do you know about this guy? And the first thing that comes out in the text thread that I had, incredible human and hard worker, great with relationships, and incredible evaluator, which has been one of the biggest things that we've needed here in Tennessee for a while, right? It's like, okay, where's the talent? Not just the early round guys, which that's been a little bit of an issue, but the late round guys too. And if you look through San Francisco's just history as of late, since 17, since he's been involved, and I know, there's an aspect of some people are going to say, well, he didn't make the picks. Well, you got to kind of understand this too. There's usually 4 decisions that have to be made as far as picks goes. That go head coach, that go position coach, that goes front office, and that goes scouting. That's the way it goes. Head coach, position coach of the player that's being picked, scouting, and head coach. Like, that's how it goes when you break down the who makes those decisions. So everybody plays a part in who's getting picked. But he also has a great presence to him and will bring great culture to the building. 49ers teams have a ton of grit and play a physical brand of football. Fantastic hire by the Titans. Rand is awesome. That was initially the first text back immediately about Rand. And this is from an opponent in the NFC divisions, NFC West. So that says a lot. And I dove in a little bit deeper. I was like, man, he knows how to find his guys and run the ship right. I was like, I even threw it. I was like, Vrabel is a little bit of a hard, but when it comes down to how he operates, he was like, he's very entrenched and involved with the 49ers. I think that's the biggest thing of it all. It's not like he's just a front office guy. He's entrenched, which, again, to your point about Trey Lance and Kittle tweeting out and stuff like that, that says a lot about his personality. Great evaluator and, most importantly, understands people. Rand will be able to come in and hit the ground running. Very respected evaluator and exec.
Glowing reviews.
That's just from one of the folks I talked to yesterday, and that's a front office guy. That's a personnel guy for a NFC West team. So I think that was huge right there to get that type of stamp. How much better does it get than that one?
I love the evaluating that came up a couple times. Good evaluator.
Yeah.
I think that's something that in any type of review of a guy like that who's your new GM, that's the type of thing you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, you go back to some of these drafts and now how they've hurt the Titans in the long run. You just can't afford to do that.
No.
Moving forward. And are you going to hit every single time? No, but for the most part, you need to have good drafts.
Yeah,
but more importantly, you need to be getting the first-round pick moving forward right.
Yeah. And that was one of the conversations too. And I was just really at a point, I'm like, all right, I got him on the hook. Let me ask some more questions when it comes down to what type of job and does he know the expectations that he's kind of getting himself into. And I was like, man, they have a whole lot of work here to get this team at a high level competition. Exactly what I said. And I was like, mostly the OL. I was like, They got possibly 4 spots that needs to be filled. And he said to me, he was like, go watch that San Francisco tape. He was like, they built their team through the trenches and on O-line and D-line. He would get it done. And he continued on to say San Francisco's team are built around a run-first mentality. He was like, so maybe someone in that mode as far as the OC, because I asked him about it, an OC mode. He was like, so as far as the OC, and then he continues and say, Nashville would love that guy. That's high praise.
It's good words from your contacts around the league. And David Lombardi of The Athletic, who covers the San Francisco 49ers, added this insight, said the lower rounds for San Francisco are the scouting department's rounds. That's where their operation shines, and Rand Carthon operated that part of the 49ers machine. The results indisputably suggest he did a great job. That includes Brock Purdy, by the way.
Yes, it does.
And
Mr. Teaspoon.
that is the way the San Francisco operation set up was Adam Peters, who was the San Francisco executive who declined the Titans interview request for the job, handled the draft.
Yep.
Rand Carthon handled free agency, waiver wire, and a lot of the trades and that side of things. That's just the breakdown of pro personnel versus your draft department and the other side of college scouting. The lower rounds, though, were the scouting department's rounds, according to David Lombardi, who's a journalist covering San Francisco. So clearly, I think Rand Carthon's experience comes from the pro scouting side of things and understanding free agency, where the 49ers have also excelled over the past couple of seasons. It's good to know he has the draft background as well, and we can see the positive fruits of his labor in San Francisco.
But also, Will, it's even further than that when you look at what they've been able to do, too, as far as that scouting department. Here's a guy, too, and this is the thing, too. It's not just Purdy that's the biggest hit. He's the most recent hit. But you also look at George Kittle, was a 4th and 5th round guy. All pro with them right now. They also have a few guys that sprinkled around the league, too, that's still starters, like the tackle DJ Jones is still a starter right now with the Broncos. Fred Warner, 3rd round pick.
Oh, wow, yeah.
All pro guy, too. I know it's not later round. That's an earlier round acquisition right there. Tavarius Moore still there playing big times for them. They also have 2 cornerbacks from which class? They have 2 cornerbacks that are actually playing big-time ball for the Jets, too. So it didn't work out there, and I saw a good bit of that was due to injury. Debo Samuel was an earlier round guy, but also they just re-signed their punter, Mitch Wishnowsky, to a 3-year, $22 million deal. Later round guy who takes a punter in the draft. I think that speaks high of him. Dre Greenlaw. Also, another guy on this team who's a starter for him, late round draft pick also for the 49ers. And also this year, first time all pro, Talanoa Hafanga. Their safety is a all pro guy as a former, if I'm not mistaken, 5th round or 6th round draft pick.
And he would have had the interactions with Jawan Jennings.
Yes, and also, Jawan Jennings.
He
is
helped.
also
He was a 7th
drafted.
rounder.
7th round. Their only blip, and I think that's probably what John Robinson needs a little bit of grace to, was that 2020 draft. But I say that in the sense that the D tackle that they took in the 1st round from South Carolina, Kinlaw has just been injured, but he was just reactivated on the 23rd of December this past year.
I think he has 2 career sacks in 3 seasons.
Where was
now.
he out of?
South Carolina.
That's right.
But
that
it's been injuries that got him.
Don't draft guys from South Carolina. Injury pro, man.
That was the trade that San Francisco sent DeForest Buckner to Indianapolis, got back the 13th pick, then traded the 13th pick and got number 14 and a later round selection as well. And we're going to go through later in the show all of the trades the 49ers have made over the past 3 seasons. Christian McCaffrey is the headliner. San Francisco has been very aggressive in making trades since Rand Carthon got there.
Truth.
And that included trading away a star defensive lineman who you drafted in the 1st round, who is often compared to Jeffrey Simmons. If we just want to set that ablaze.
Whoa,
just for a hot
baby,
second.
Will. Starting to fire early.
737-1045. Talanoa Hufanga is one of the great success stories of them, though.
There's a video of
Dude's a
him
stud.
getting announced his All-Pro. Mind you, what round is Teller for? He's either fifth, sixth, or seventh. But you don't become All-Pro at those type of positions just out of nowhere.
That's insane.
That's one of those ones where the scouting department pop bottles behind. Like
Yes.
legitimately. Or finding, I'll be honest, I know the guy that scouted me at Tennessee, and for me to have gotten 11 years, and he pretty much said it. He's like, that extended a lot of my career. He's like, for me to go find you out of Tennessee and for you to play 11 years, he was like, you understand what that does for me in the front office now? I was like, really? You supposed to be telling me this right now? But that's the part of the scouting that makes teams build success. And you have his draft pick right now, Will?
I don't.
Okay, I have to find. I looked it up yesterday and totally didn't write it down.
But he wasn't a top
No.
3-round guy.
No, not at all.
He was the number 180 pick
180 pick. Yeah,
in the NFL draft, 2021. Yep.
180. That puts him in a really good spot that year.
615-737-1045, where John in the Borough leads us off this morning. Hey, John.
What's up, John?
Good morning, everybody. I promise not to talk soccer because apparently that is frowned upon in this establishment.
Jack Bauer showed up fast there, didn't he?
In any event, honestly, so I was looking through a lot of Rand's history, and yeah, you guys brought up that he hasn't drafted the first few rounds for his career. But I was looking through some of the teams that he's been a part of, and the first round picks that he's been a part of that front office have been hits, which I realize they're supposed to be hits. But what have the Titans not done since John Robinson was GM? They've not hit on their first round picks. So I think that this is a changing of the guard, and I think that it's a good change. I like the idea of it. I like the hire. And honestly, I was kind of comparing it. I think this could be our Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, appreciate the call, John. I think the only difference there is that Ozzie was so much a college scout and was on that side of things. But I think the point stands that you wanted someone younger, up and coming in this business, who fit Mike Vrabel's vibe and mentality, and you wanted a collaborator with the head coach.
That sounds like the perfect collaborator,
I don't
right?
think you could have found a better one.
Right.
And a guy who played running back in the National Football League from 2004 to 2006, a son of an NFL fullback turned assistant coach. Rand Carthon went to Miami briefly to be a high school football coach and then left quickly and said, I don't have the patience to be a coach, and joined the Atlanta Falcons scouting department. I mean, this is a guy who would watch film at Florida when coaches realized that he wanted to be potentially a front office executive or a scout, and would watch film with Bill Polian while he played with the Indianapolis Colts from the perspective of a general manager. It speaks highly on Polian's influence on his career. He went through his entire playing career thinking and processing that this was going to be his next step and this be his ultimate goal. And he's said in interviews for years, this is the ultimate goal, to lead a franchise and to be a general manager.
Yeah. The other portion of this too, of course, there was some people that tweeted at us about his role as far as scouting and picking guys and stuff like that. I say this, other than the kid from South Carolina, who's had a couple of injuries, and he's still young in his career. They've hit on the early round guys probably more often. Like I said, I reeled off some of the guys that they've gotten early on. Solomon Thomas, yes, he went free agent to the Jets. Reuben Foster got in some trouble. You can't help that one. Kayla Witherspoon is the guy that ended up with the Steelers that played well. But you got McGlinchey, who's supposed to be, I think, a free agent this year. If I still have this up as far as active free agents coming into this year. But also, he's a starter for him. Fred Warner is a guy. Of course, Tavares Moore plays with him still. Bosa, Deebo Samuels, Jalen Hurd played himself out of the league a little bit. And, of course, like I said, Talanoa Hufanga is a guy that's an all-pro for them. So they're sprinkled all around us. So
That's right.
Yeah.
I actually had one of their guys that I trained with coming out of the combine who now works in the scouting department reach out to me just randomly. I showed you guys, right? And just sending his sentiments on what he thought about Rand Carthon. And he's like an awesome guy. Titans got a great one. And I was just like, okay, well, let me dive in a little bit more with this then. But then I asked the question, what's his involvement with scouting, with picking players and everything? He's like, he's the best former player. He gets it. Confident, what you need that around Vrabel, right? You need somebody that's going to be able to just stand toe-to-toe and make the right decisions. But he said confident, charismatic, humble, just a really good dude to be around. It's like, can't say enough good things about him. You're going to love him. Again, another unwarranted just stamp of approval for him. And I was just asked the questions like, did he scout college guys, NFL free agents? What was his role? I was like, because that's going to be a question that we have to have answered here. And his answer to me, his reply to me was, he's been primarily on the pro side in his career. He's like, but he's also helped oversee the college side the last couple of years with his role. That right there is the answer you're looking for.
If you are a guy and you're hearing these raving reviews, if you're that guy, I would see this guy as being someone who injects himself in every aspect of the game. So maybe he's not specifically got the college scouting attached to his name, but I cannot see a guy like this that seems to kind of know a little bit about everything and enjoys the game so much that he's not attentive in terms of what's going on when it comes to the college game and when it comes time to that time of the year.
Yes.
These guys aren't not paying attention.
Exactly. No, they see it.
I understand the call. It's more of a pro scout mentality, but this guy loves football.